Welcome back to What Arty Noobs for General Disturbance, and this is an M55, the Tier 9 American SPG, and it says "Welcome to Hell" on the side. Yep, well that's probably going to be the result when he fires his 8-inch howitzer, and it's being commanded by Joper JM, who was a member of What Arty Noobs but subsequently left for the second time, probably the last time, just recently. Anyway, he's on the south spawn of Prokhorovka, and battle is about to commence. So this is an encounter battle. Okay, he's extending his aim, but he's extending it in a rather unusual direction. He's actually looking over to the west side of the battlefield. Well, on this particular battle... Oh, there's a tree went down there. Did you see that? Somebody must be in that bush. I think that Joper knows that, and he's going to put a round in just to see if he can spoil somebody's day. Rounds out. Well, no result. So maybe there was somebody in the bush, but maybe they moved forward. It's very possible. The only enemy that has been spotted is a T10, and he's just on the other side of the ridgeline, and Joper's looking at it. He's extended his aim onto the T10, dialed in on it, almost reloaded. Oh no, he's changed direction again. He's going after this AMX CDC. Now I suspect this was probably the tank that knocked down the tree earlier, but we've lost sight of it now, so he could have had a shot in the T10. There's the CDC again. He's been spotted, and oh, he's been taken out. So that was a bit of a wasted, but never mind. And he's chopping and changing all the time on his targets. It's not going to be very, very helpful, because all the time you're chopping and changing, obviously you have to dial in again. And that means that there's less shells going out onto the enemy. Okay, it's on the IS-3, rounds out. And it overshot, but it did do some splash damage, and it stunned the IS-3, and he's picked up some stun assist since. Now, instead of actually using his right-hand mouse button, he's scrolling his mouse every time he's extending his aim. And of course that will slow things down as well. Much, much better to use your right-hand mouse key on the mini-map, and you'll look directly at the target you want to see straight away. He's almost reloaded. Unfortunately, that target's not in sight, but there is a T-25 pilot in sight on the other side of the ridgeline in the centre of the map. And he's ignoring that tank, even though he's getting a request for fire. Now he's paying attention to it, but of course he has to then spend time dialing in, and yep, he's chopped and changed again to the T10, who's moved further along the ridgeline. Rounds out. Nope, no result. And again, scrolling his mouse to extend his aim, slowing him down. And he's chopping and changing his target again to the hill. He's almost reloaded, 2/3 of the way through. Now we've lost sight of that tank now, so we can't fire at that one. But there is a T-25 Pilot 1 in sight, and he's making aggressive moves on the centre line. No, he's not going to see that tank because that tank's pulled back. So all the time he's wasting this, he's wasting getting further rounds out. You've only got a limited time in the battle. You need to get as many rounds out as you can during that time to do as much damage as you can to the enemy team. And all the time he's aiming at targets which are not in sight, he's wasting time. In fact, he's doing something that could allow the enemy to win. Not that I'm saying he is going to do that in this battle. Okay, there's that T-25 pilot again, and he's running up and down that ridge line, doing spotting work. No, he's ignoring it. There's a tank in sight he can fire at, but he's ignoring it. Okay, an Oho on top of the hill. He's getting a request for fire. He's dialing in the aim on target. It's stopped. Rounds out. And he gets a hit this time. 456 hit points, 2 critical hits. And he's relocated. And he's going after the STB. The OHO's been taken out, so he's picked up some stun assists off that. It's an AMX-3050FB, but he's right at the back, so he's not likely to get fired upon. Whereas that STB is in a much more precarious position. He could be fired on, is being fired on at this moment. When he's loaded, there's the AMX. Rounds out. Direct hit. 468 hit points, 3 critical hits. Now, there are 2 tanks up at the moment. STB is a bit of a nuisance. Tanks like that can actually oversee the cap, and that means that they can prevent anybody from capping or moving near the cap, because they can spot them, either call in Arty or put fire into them himself. Okay, he's reloading. The thing about the M55, it's got a reload time of about 45 seconds, so it's quite a long time that you're sitting there doing nothing. So again, you might as well relocate every time you fire, just to avoid being hit by counter battery. There's the IS-3, there's the STB by the edge. The IS-3's been taken out, and the STB will be taken out by Splash. Oh, he did! He got it. He actually got a direct hit on it. So that's his first kill. And that AMX-50B is still there, although he's only got 1/3 of his health left now. He's moving backwards and forwards, and that prevents the rest of the team, or rest of Jopa's team, from taking hold and control of the top of the hill. Because if they try to move up, the AMX-50B will use his gun depression to take shots at them. There he is, rounds out. And that's a Splash for 428 hit points. It's very good. Okay, T10 in the centre. Full health T10 as well. That's the same tank that he was initially aiming at right at the start of the battle. There's an ISU 152 right at the back of the map. It's stationary, but it's defending, shooting up at the hill. It's almost reloaded. Only a few seconds left, 4 seconds left. Rounds out. Direct hit. 365 hit points. And we can see the enemy Arty. It's a batch at 155.55, and he's right at the back of the map, next to the railway line. He was seen, but now he's unspotted again. There, tree went down. That gives an indication as to where one of the enemy vehicles is. But he's ignoring that and going for the T10. Ah, the Batchat is relocating. We can see it now. He's reloaded, but the Batchat's gone down. And the AMX-50B has gone down. Just taken out by the M46 pattern. Now they have an advantage because they've got the hill, which means they can spot the enemy tanks and clean up the remainder of the enemy team. There's still 6 members of the enemy team, but they're now in a very difficult position. There's the 152. He's guarding the railway crossing, basically. He's moving backwards and forward on a single spot. That's not going to be helpful for him, though. Okay, I don't think that shell did anything. Right, a Guerrilla 15 has gone up on top of the hill. He's taken out the M46 pattern. going after that T10. Rounds out. Direct hit. 366 hit points. Good strike. Right, that gorilla is walking into a load of danger there. I'm surprised that round didn't actually do any damage to the gorilla. He did look as if he was backing away, but they've got 2 in the cap now. And I think that gorilla's going to have to come forward to try and put shells into the capping tanks, which means he's going to make himself obvious. And there he is. He's now on the downslope. And although he's managed to take out one of the tanks in the cap, the E100, he got taken out in return by the Tiger II. And there's still capping. There's only 4 enemy tanks remaining. The T10, a Waffenträger auf Panzer IV, and a Skoda T50, as well as a Fock. And that shot kills the T10. 82 hit points. Right, we haven't seen the Waffenträger and the Skoda for some while, and we certainly haven't seen the Fock at all. So the question is, where have they got to? I mean, they're totally ignoring the fact that this is an encounter battle, and they need to get up and fight for that cap. There's only 3 minutes still to go for the battle, or 3 minutes 5 seconds. Death Star's moving up on the west side of the flank, but I think really the tactics of the team is the right thing to do. It's to occupy the cap and force the enemy to come to the caps to get a reset. But this enemy doesn't appear to want to. They're more interested in keeping their vehicles in one piece. So the AMX-50-100 and T-54 are out looking for them, as well as the Tiger II. And Joper's actually asking for a spot. He wants to see them, so he can put a round into them. But there's no sign of them yet. They must be on the west side of the battlefield. The AMX-50 and the T-54 should spot them soon. Ooh, well, the Skoda just took out the M48 pattern, but there's the Skoda. He's been seen. He's up in the corner. And he's been taken out. He was taken out by the Death Star. That's the 2-minute warning. They've stopped capping now, so there's no point. There's enough, there's so few enemies. There's the Fock. At last we've seen the Fock. Okay, he was sitting at the back on the west side of the map, and it's a completely useless position to be in. And that shell splashed him for 182, and he's got 323 of stun assist straight away. And he's been taken out. He was taken out by the T-54, but we still don't know where this Waffenträger is. He must be over on this far west side of the map. And it's a totally useless position to be in an encounter battle. You don't want to be over there. There he is. I'm not sure this player knows that, you know, this is an encounter battle. You don't stay over this side of the map. Rounds out. Oh, that hurt his own teammate. He actually stunned his own teammate with that shot. If that teammate suffers any damage, then Joper's going to be paying for it. And the Waffenträger has been taken out by the Death Star. And that's the end of the battle. Let's have a look at the end of battle stats. Well, it's an ace tanker for Jopa JM. You can't deny the fact that he did fairly well with his damage. It was chopping and changing a lot at the start of the battle, and I think that's one of the reasons why it only accounts he only got 2 kills. He did pick up a bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. In fact, he got 13 in that battle. And of course, he did pick up a Confederate medal because he did hit more of the enemy than anyone else on his team. At least 6 tanks that were subsequently destroyed by other members of his team. So you can't deny the fact that he certainly laid his shells around. But he wasn't firing at shells that were in plain sight at any one time. He was mostly aiming at tanks that were unspotted. But hoping that they would come back into view when they didn't. Okay, he did the second highest amount of damage, 3,465 hit points. He got the second highest amount of kills with 2, or joint with the Tiger 2. And he got the highest base XP of 1,226 experience points. He fired 15 rounds, got 5 direct hits, 5 penetrations, 9 splash damage, and damage of 3,465 hit points, all at more than 300 meters. He did damage that friendly tank, so he lost 106 hit points off that tank, and he will be fined some credits for that. He damaged 9 of the enemy, but killed 2 of them. And he did stun assistance damage of 3,287 hit points off 11 stuns. Now, he received 64,119 credits, but he was deducted 2,657 credits as a fine for hitting his own teammate or stunning his own teammate, and he received a total of 61,462 credits minus ammunition. That was 33,412 that he took away. He received 1,839 experience points on a premium count, but had 2 of those deducted for hitting his own teammate, and it was ×3 for the first victory of the day, so he took away 5,511. Now that's a decent score, that's a reasonably good score. So let's have a look and see. Yep, well, I think the lesson to be learned from this one is he did actually do a lot of damage. But the thing that you do with the M53, M55 is expedite what you can see on the battlefield. It's got a great gun, and as long as you're hitting the enemy really, really hard, you should come away with a good ace tanker and a lot of kills. And unfortunately, in this particular instance, there's only 2 kills out of it, but still got that Confederate, so well done. If you enjoyed this replay, please do leave a like and do subscribe to our channel. And hopefully it'll be your replay I'll be featuring in the next video.